At this early stage in the development of the noir movement, studios weren't entirely sure what they were creating. The war was underway and the industry was trying to figure out if the public wanted more serious movies that reflected the world's turmoil or an escape from all that turmoil. And as a result, early examples of noir like I Wake Up Screaming and Paramount's This Gun for Hire, both based on grim crime novels, lightened things up with comedic and romantic elements. Relentlessly noir films like Double Indemnity, Scarlet Street, and The Killers were still a few years away. Of course, no one can argue I Wake Up Screaming isn't noir. Elijah Cook Jr. is in it. He was the bad luck charm in the early days of the noir movement, appearing in such essential films as Stranger on the Third Floor in 1940, and in 1941, both The Maltese Falcon and this film. And he'd have a major role in an upcoming noir landmark, 1944's Phantom Lady. After that, he'd be a world-class weasel in dozens of noir movies. Now, as is often the case with films we show on Noir Alley, there are sad backstories for some of the collaborators. Carol Landis became a star opposite Victor Mature in 1 Million BC, in large part because of how fetchingly she filled a cave girl outfit. Fox boss Darryl Zanuck was impressed enough to offer her a studio contract, and more. She quickly became a popular comedy star and, like Betty Grable, a favorite pinup girl of GIs during the war. She toured constantly to entertain the troops and wrote a book about her experiences, Four Jills in a Jeep. She'd star in the 1944 movie version. After her affair with Zanuck had ended, she went to England to make pictures. And that's where she fell in love with Rex Harrison. Their affair was something of an open secret in Hollywood, which couldn't have pleased Harrison's wife, Lily Palmer. When Harrison ended the affair with Landis, she committed suicide with a handful of Seconal tablets. She was only 29. Her stalker in I Wake Up Screaming, Police Lieutenant Ed Cornell, was intended as a homage to writer Cornell Woolrich. Author Steve Fisher was a colleague of Woolrich's at Black Mask. In fact, he was one of the few people in the business who actually knew the reclusive writer. Now, the actor who played Cornell, Laird Krieger, was another performer with a tragic end. He burst on the scene in the early 40s, playing literally heavies with a streak of perversion in films like This Gun for Hire and The Lodger. But Krieger saw himself as a leading man, in the mold of his Fox stablemate, Tyrone Power. And when Merle Oberon told him he'd get romantic roles if only he'd lose weight, Krieger went on a drastic regimen of fasting and amphetamines. He lost more than 100 pounds, as seen in 1945's Hangover Square, where he was the lead, opposite Linda Darnell and George Sanders. He was still cast as a disturbed misfit, but a relatively slim one. And Krieger didn't live to read the good reviews he got for Hangover Square. He died 2 months before it opened from complications of drug use and drastic weight loss. Lastly, I'm sure many of you are wondering what was up with the use, or should I say overuse, of the tune Over the Rainbow. It was written, of course, by Harold Arlen in 1939 for The Wizard of Oz. So how it ends up sans lyrics in this 1941 Fox film is honestly a mystery to me. But the studio certainly got its money's worth. Maybe somebody out there knows the history behind this. And if so, share it with us on the Noir Alley Facebook page and Twitter feed. I would love to know. Next week, I'll be showing Noir Alley's first foreign language movie. It's the 1958 French film Ascenseur pour la Chifaux, released in the U.S. in 1961 as Frantic, and later as the more properly translated Elevator to the Gallows. It features a tremendous score by jazz great Miles Davis and stars French film legend Jean Moreau, who played more than a few femme fatales in her time. And making next week extra special is that I'll have my own femme fatale here to co-host the screening. Definitely looking forward to that. See you here next week.